Hi fans of high quality entertainment. So this video was inspired by Robert's On My Turntables video that he posted yesterday. It was titled The Unfollow Effect, and it's 10 bands that I guess he still has in his collection, but he never listens to them. And so I'm kind of doing the same idea, except I'm doing 12, and none of these artists are in my collection anymore. But they used to be at some point. And I've ranked them. And, I'm sure there's other artists too, but these are just 12 that I thought of. And for the most part, I like most of these artists, even today. But I just don't, need them in my collection anymore for whatever reasons. And I will let you know the albums I had by each of these bands. Yeah, they're all bands. And so my favorite to my least favorite of these 12. So number 1, I have to admit, even though I'm not a fan of U2 anymore, and I don't have any of their albums, at one point, as I've said before, ever since I heard them in 1984 with The Unforgettable Fire, I became a huge fan. And I was a huge fan. I bought all of their albums up to Songs of Innocence in 2014. That's the album where they put it on everybody's phone. And that really that was kind of the end of it for me. Not just that, but also, their music just wasn't doing anything for me anymore. They were getting, I don't know, trying to be too commercial or something, or they just totally turned me off. But like I said, I still love, a lot of their songs from the 80s and 90s. Even some from the 2000s. So yeah, I had every U2 album from Bowie up to Songs of Innocence, and after that I stopped buying their albums. I never bought Songs of Experience or Songs of Surrender or their upcoming Songs of Songs of Songs. That's stupid names. Like, one is fine, right? But their last 3 albums have been Songs of ... That's what they should call the next one, Songs of ... Okay, so they're number 1. They're great overall. I still, and I still like U2, but they're not in my collection. Number 2, a band I like, I used to buy all of their albums on vinyl, and then I ended up buying a CD box set of all of their albums on CD, most of their albums, except for maybe later ones. And it is ZZ Top. Yeah, Eliminator, I think, was the first one I bought, and then I loved, like I said, a lot of their albums. And then when I bought that box set, I did play it quite a bit, and then after a couple of years, it's like, okay, I've heard enough of ZZ Top. Even today, it's like I have no urge to listen to them, but they're a great band overall. So I still really like ZZ Top. Number 3, a great band. I was a fan, well, I still am in a way, of Deep Purple. I just don't want to listen to them anymore. And I had all of their albums either on vinyl, back in the 70s, or CD later on, from their debut album up to Come Taste the Band, which I bought back when it came out. And I didn't really care for it. My favorite is probably Machine Head, of course. Burn was great. Great band. Nothing against Deep Purple at all. No need to listen to them anymore, for me. Number 4. So these are getting slowly, not worse, but, I don't love them as much or like them as much today. Number 4, I still really like Jethro Tull. Either on vinyl or CD, I've had Aqualung, Thick as a Brick, A Passion Play, I believe I had on vinyl. War Child, which I think is underrated. Minstrel in the Gallery, possibly my favorite, along with Thick as a Brick. Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die, which was so-so. And Songs from the Wood, which I know is a good album, but I never could totally get into it. And yeah, so I've had them on CD and vinyl, and I just, the last few years I had Songs from the Wood and Thick as a Brick. I had the box set of that. And after a while, I just, the years would go by and I would never play Jethro Tull. It's like I've had enough of Jethro Tull in my life. But they're great. Nothing against them. Number 5, once again, a great band. The Cure. Yeah, I like The Cure. I bought Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Disintegration, Wish, and the compilation Standing on the Beach. I don't love everything they've done that I've heard, but there's probably 20, 30 songs that I absolutely love. And so, they're a great band, for sure. But I just have other things I'd rather listen to today. Number 6, Hurts. Because they're Canadian, eh? It's Rush. I think Rush were one of the most talented bands ever. I love each of the band members. I love a lot of their music, but I've just, through the years, even back in 1974 when I bought their debut album, before they were even really well known, or just starting to get popular. And, then I bought Fly By Night when it came out, and Caress of Steel, 2112, A Farewell to Kings, Permanent Waves, which is probably my favorite, Grace Under Pressure, which I really liked, and their final album, Clockwork Angels, which I really liked. But I just found, I'd have them in my collection, and year after year, I would just never play them. So they're out of here. I don't care if they're Canadian. But, like I said, I totally respect Rush. Great band. Number 7. I was a pretty big fan of this band for a few years. Fleetwood Mac. Of course, I think the first one I bought was Rumors, which I think everybody bought, and I loved it. Great album. Then I bought the previous one, just titled Fleetwood Mac, and then Tusk, which is my favorite. I think some people were disappointed in that album, but I loved it. It's, they're changing. They were great. I was even I think I bought a couple of Lindsey Buckingham's solo albums around that time too, his first couple. And I just don't have them in my collection because I know I would never play them anymore. But like I said, Tusk is a great album. I love that. And Rumors. And Fleetwood Mac. They're a great band. Now this band I have a love-hate relationship with. All because of the lead singer. The Smiths. Yeah, I loved The Queen is Dead, and I also bought Strange Ways, Here We Come. And I really loved the compilation, the double album, Louder Than Bombs. But once again, I'm just kind of turned off by them because of Morrissey these days. He was even getting into it a few months back with Sparks, of all bands, to try and start a fight with. So, they're out of here. But, The Queen is Dead. That was a great album. And like I said, I did love that Louder Than Bombs compilation. I do love, quite a few of the Smiths songs. They're kind of like The Cure. Some songs I absolutely love, and then others just kind of bore me. But overall, a very good band. Unfortunately, Morrissey is the lead singer. All right, the bottom 4. Yeah, I'm not into any of these bands right now. I haven't been for a few years. Number 9, Aerosmith. It's embarrassing. I was a fan of Aerosmith. No, but they were great. You know, back in the 70s, I bought Toys in the Attic the year it came out. It's still my favorite Aerosmith album. I wouldn't actually mind it being in my collection, but it isn't. And then Draw the Line was good. I love the song Draw the Line. Permanent Vacation I actually loved when that came out. And then I bought Pump and Get a Grip. And then I finally got a grip and I stopped buying Aerosmith albums because they just, as some of you know, they just went totally commercial and all those stupid radio hits. Yeah. Number 10, this is the one that kind of, I know some of you are going to be very upset about. Dire Straits. And I've heard other Dire Straits albums besides the one I bought, Brothers in Arms. And Brothers in Arms, the title track, one of my all-time favorite songs. And but the rest of the album I've never... It was good, but just not my thing. And like I said, I'd heard some of their other albums and liked them, but they're just not a band that I would play a lot if I had them in my collection. So they're at number 10. But they're still a very good band. And one of my favorite albums of all time is Boom Dylan's Slow Train Coming. And Mark Knopfler's guitar playing on that is just amazing. This might surprise some of my viewers. I don't know if I've ever even talked about this band, but they're a good band. They were a good band. Number 11 is In Excess. Don't laugh at me. I bought Listen Like Thieves, Kick, which was their, I think their biggest album, and then the follow-up X, which I thought was just okay, I guess. But yeah, I used to like some of the In Excess songs and albums, and they were a good band. It's very sad what happened with, of course, Michael. So that's number 11. And number 12, I was one of the original fans of this band. I'm pretty sure I bought their debut album the week it came out. And hardly anybody knew of them. But, I'd been reading about them in rock magazines, so I was very curious. And I bought it, and I loved it. It is Kiss. I told you not to laugh at me. Yeah, so I was a fan of Kiss, 1974, and then after Kiss was Hotter Than Hell, which was really disappointing. But I think part of it had to do with the production. It was so bad. And then I bought Dressed to Kill, which was good, but kind of getting a bit too poppy for me. It wasn't as heavy as, like the debut or their second album. And then Kiss Alive, which I absolutely loved back then. And I bought Destroyer, which I liked. But then I matured a little bit, as you can tell. And I stopped buying Kiss albums. I never bought another Kiss album in my life, or even a Gene Simmons solo album. But yeah, back in the 70s, in the mid-70s, Kiss were cool, man. But today, it's Ween that's cool, man. And that is it. So I would love your thoughts on all of these bands, which ones you like, which ones you detest, and which ones you hate, and which ones you wish never existed. And that is it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.